interesting. It's such an uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially for a guy, young guys in their early 20s. And, I'm glad that, I could tune in and, listen to you guys.
Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you so much for hanging out while we got our shit together, as usual. This is the Hair Loss Show. I got to tell you, Joe, I am starting to look, I need a haircut. I look like a beetle with a receded hairline. That's unbelievable.
I'm in the same boat. I've been waiting for my barber. He works part-time. And the past 3 weeks, I've missed the window because he was pre-booked. And it's just, I'm booked in tomorrow. Finally.
You have a barber who works part-time? How old is he?
35.
Oh. Well, my barber, excuse me, guys,
87
is 80 or 81 now. I'm just trying to keep this guy alive. That's my thing. When he, at one point he had a heart attack. I'm like, okay, I'll get him a private room. Whatever this guy needs, let's just keep his
with some custom shears.
Yeah, just keep his heart pumping.
Oh God.
But I mean, I get to the barber shop now, and I do go to a barber shop, which is, I know you kids don't even know what that is.
They saw the movie.
Goes to a salon. Oh, that's very fun. Yeah, that's true.
It's a classic.
Classic. And I'll get there, and I have to wake him up, and he's falling asleep in his chair. It's the best.
I choose to look at this from a positive angle. He's rested up to do the best job possible.
No,
just
listen. I mean, honestly, there's only a few times he's really screwed me up. He cut a few months ago. He really continued to use thinning shears in my nape, which, yes, 20 years ago, fine. I didn't have retrograde alopecia. Now you're making me bald. So let's cool it with the thinning shears and just use regular, scissors. Obviously you have to layer it a little bit back there, but just make it short. And now
it's like using shears on your nape. It's like you may as well just pull out the straight razor.
Oh, 100%, dude. But I'll tell you, what's interesting about that, guys, and I think it's important for you young guys to listen. Everyone who thinks that finasteride or dutasteride is going to keep you in check for life, it will not. It will not. Now,
go ahead. Sorry. Well, I was going to say I was in a debate with someone on Reddit about this exact issue. He was 23. He knew everything there was to know. He'd been on his stack with dutasteride for years. He's 23.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know.
Continue.
Tom Gilbanks actually did a video on this, I think today or yesterday. I don't know. Everything, the days just meld into each other at this point in my life. And he was discussing that, he will probably continue to progress at a much slower rate. Great message for a young guy to put out there, in my view. But it's not probably. You will. That's just the reality. Now, I made a choice. I could have been severely bald at 30, or I may lose my shit at 65 or 70, as far as where I'm going to either have to slap on a wig or get a hair transplant. I choose 70.
I choose 70. I choose life.
I choose life. Yes, it's a protracted agony. You're going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like any other chronic manageable disease. Eventually, it's going to get you.
There are people out there where just the mere fact that it will take 50 years at a slow pace drives them insane.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I wish it was 50.
No matter how good they look until then, the fact that it might happen in the future, they can't handle it.
I think my outlook was probably a good one because I'd never fully fixed my hair. So I always had to kind of be creative. So it was always you still have a receding hairline or you comb your hair to the side. I call it a comb over. It's a quasi, whatever, trump the early years. But if I would have perfected it with a transplant, I would have been much more mentally effed up, I think, as I continue to progress.
That makes sense.
You know, to me, it's kind of like I grew into my hairstyle. I mean, it was once cool in the 70s, and now it's back. And I'm okay with that at my stage in life, because if I'm out in the street, unless it's windy, if I'm out in the street, if I'm at a bar, if I meet younger people, one of the first things someone says when they find out how old I am, besides, have you had plastic surgery? I'm just kidding. When they find out how old I am is, well, you still have a full head of hair.
Yeah.
But I don't. But because I'm old, they think I do. And that's the key. They think
always keep them guessing.
Well, but you're an old guy. They don't expect you to have hair, like stylable hair. That's the point. So I find it fascinating when young people who troll me on Instagram or wherever will be like, yeah, we're going to take advice from the balding guy. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
Well, I've been balding for 40 years. You may be balding for only 3 or 5 until you're bald. There's a big difference.
There is, of course. Guys,
the phone number is 888-659-3727. We have a full board. If you are trying to get through and you're getting a busy signal, that's because for the last decade I've been too lazy to fix that. I'm sorry, if you're getting a voicemail, I've been too lazy to fix that. But that means that all the lines are filled, and just continue calling, and eventually you'll get through. Would you like to get to the phones first? Joe?
Are you asking me? Yes.
Yeah, I'm asking you. I don't know if you have something prepared. I come here, I'm totally unprepared. I don't know what's going on in your head.
This week, I don't. There's nothing new, so to speak, worthy of bringing up. But you know, I was thinking about this, about the subject of the show today that I put on the thumbnail.
I didn't even look at it. Let me see.
Hair loss is coming for most of us in some form.
Dude, what I find funny is there's this new movie, I think it's out. It's about some sort of dating service. I don't know. I just saw like a preview, and obviously, even in the movie, they're like, you know, one of the prerequisites for this person's dating matchmaking service is good hairline. That is hilarious. Listen, ladies, unless you get married in your early 20s, it is very unlikely that you are going to meet a man who will not become bald or balding within the first decade of your marriage. That's just the reality. You're probably better off being prepared for it than thinking, oh, shit, I didn't sign up for this.
You just messed up a bunch of women and a bunch of guys. Yeah. They're like, wait a minute, what?
That's you want to meet a guy with a full head of hair, a great hairline? Great. If you can't, just realize that that's temporary.
Go meet a 20-year-old.
Yeah, or good. Even a 30-year-old or a 35-year-old with a great hairline, that's temporary. He's not safe. You didn't marry some guy who's always going to keep his hair. You married a guy that is a dead man walking in most cases.
Dead follicle walking.
Yeah. So you need to come to terms with that. That is the reality.
You know what gets me is it reminds me of when I was sitting in the chair for my second hair transplant, where I asked my first intelligent question, and the doctor lied to me to my face while I was in the chair. First intelligent question: what do I do if I lose more hair? And he said, I won't lose more hair till I'm at least 50.
Yeah, that's sad and interesting.
It was sad. It was sad. His lie led to this entire life I've had. That one lie influenced my entire life, for better or for worse.
I just went onto your chat and I see time to call the show the Bald Truants. That's very funny. I'm actually a Hebrew school truant, which a lot of you guys wouldn't understand the comedy in that.
But it's there anyway.
That's maybe the name of my book.
This is your book.
Phone number 888-659-3727. But yeah, I'll probably get a haircut this week. I think and do for it. And again, fingers crossed that he's still alive. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Steve K. from Houston, Texas.
Hey, Steve
Hello,
K.
Steve K.
What's happening, brother?
Well, I called into you guys. Well, first, thanks for taking my call. I called in with
Absolutely.
you guys about 3 years ago. Told you my life story. And I was really excited at the time because I had started on oral minoxidil. And I seen great results.
Nice.
But as time has progressed, hello? Yes?
I said great. Yeah.
Has progressed. It has. Crap.
Go ahead.
As time has progressed, it's gotten worse. And so I think it's still maintaining the hair, but more hair growth, no more fuzz.
All right, let me ask you this.
So is that common?
Are you only
Okay.
so you started low dose oral minoxidil? Is that what it was?
Yes, but I also take finasteride as well.
How long have you been on finasteride?
20 years.
Okay.
I was in the original minoxidil studies. I'm 65. I've been in the original, so I've been fighting this hair loss for 40 years.
Me too. Welcome to the club.
And I had
brother.
transplants by Miller and Knowles many years ago.
I'm sorry.
So,
Wow.
well, yeah, but
Not a lot of people would
so
understand who
have
even recognize those names. That was so long ago, but I do. Go ahead.
yeah, I know you did because you were really impressed because when I said B.L. Limmer, you thought he was a pretty good guy.
Oh yeah,
he was.
He's a great guy.
So is that something that is common that you'll get to a point even with oral minoxidil and it will just, taper off?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very common, especially if you've been fighting this battle for over 40 years. Now, with that said, what does taper off mean? Are you losing ground, or are you just not noticing as much robust hair growth, or did the initial burst of hair growth just kind of stay where it is, and you haven't seen anything more?
Well, I think good question. Initial hair growth is dissipated. So I used to have like all this fuzz on the side, like sideburns. I could have sideburns again. Those are gone.
This is interesting.
I do have a question.
I'm going to interrupt you. Have you been using the exact same generic low dose for the entire 3 years?
And that's what I was just going to say. So when I started it, I was using a blend of, minoxidil, and then I think they had finasteride and vitamin D. So I went to my dermatologist. She gave me a prescription for minoxidil, and I take the other and the finasteride, and then I just buy vitamin D, at the drugstore. Now, is there any impact of having it compounded like it was when you bought it online versus just taking a pill for this and a pill for that?
Yes.
Is there any benefit for that?
Here's the thing.
There is.
In general,
you saw the benefit.
In general, I am not necessarily a fan of jumping right to the compounded product because those are switched up easily. We have no idea exactly where the drugs are sourced. However, in your case, that compounded product benefited you and you were doing well on it. And then when you switched to separate drugs, which one good reason to switch to separate drugs that are taken separately is you can titrate each drug individually. Mm-hmm. But anytime you make a change, you can possibly lose the benefits of the drug or the product that you were on before.
Even taking supposedly similar or the same ingredients separately. It's like there's even if you're just taking one medication or one we'll call it a mono medication just low dose minoxidil or just finasteride, and you switch to a different, just that medication, not adding or subtracting anything, that in and of itself can be enough to trigger an effluvium, temporary or permanent, because it may not be as effective. Like Spencer and I have both been talking about this for 20 years, how any sort of interruption.
30. You've been talking about it off air for 10. Then you came on the show. Okay. I've been talking about it on the air for 30. So yeah, I would say we've been talking about it for 30 years.
And this thing is real. Like it's the idea of switching, generic this to generic that, and it's supposed to be the same medication. No one talks about it except us. And it can, and in your case, may have been the reason for this change in your outcome.
I venture to say that, we both don't have crystal balls, but I would submit that was the reason, in my view. And I'm not a doctor. I don't have a crystal ball. But given that you had such a profound benefit from the drug, and you mentioned the fact that it grew your sideburns, which is key. The fact that you normally don't go through an effluvium on your sideburns unless the active drug, like minoxidil, can grow facial hair. It can cause hypertrichosis. So there's a lot of benefit to taking it. Like if you have diminished eyebrows, or you want, your eyelashes can grow more, sideburns can grow in if people are having issues with that, and also even with retrograde alopecia. So the fact that you lost the sideburns again, to me, and I think any reasonable physician would say, that is a signal that the drugs you're currently taking are not as effective as what you were taking before.
Okay.
But I'm not a doctor. I barely got out of high school.
Right, I understand.
Okay.
Right. Also, I'll tell you another story. I told you this 3 years ago, but when the small grafts that I got from Limmer all fell out, while the larger grafts that I got from Knowles, the plug, so I get the pluggy look, stayed in.
Yeah.
So that was interesting as well.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why.
I have for you guys.
Go ahead. Would you like to know why?
Go ahead.
Yes, this is something that physicians do not. It's really not in the literature. I would like to have a paper written through the American Hair Loss Association about it, but I have to find a physician who'd be willing to medically review this. And that may not be easy because it could affect the entire industry. But the reality is there's something that we think is possible called recipient site dominance. And when you implant grafts, larger grafts with a lot of tissue that are protecting those organs, and the cells of that tissue and that fertilizer for those hairs are part of the implantation process when we're putting them into a different area. That is the only thing that really proved donor dominance for a long period of time. Once they started to do smaller and smaller grafts that became, in some cases, more denuded, depending on who was preparing them, it seemed like the smaller grafts may potentially take on some of the characteristics of the original balding scalp over time. Now, in Joe's case, that doesn't seem to be the case for most of his grafts. So I would say that a lot of it, because the grafts were probably dissected with a decent amount of tissue around them and they weren't denuded, the grafts were lasting for a long period of time, for years, decades actually. They may last for life. But I would say some of the guys who were trying to make tiny grafts earlier on, we're starting to see diminished results over the years, if that makes any sense. I think it does. Does that make sense to you, Joe?
No, it does.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last question I had for you guys, back in the day when I was doing the transplants, someone was trying to talk me into a scalp reduction.
Ooh,
Whatever.
Yeah.
Do they even exist anymore, or what happened to them? What was the result?
They do not exist anymore.
No.
And it's actually even at the time, I thought it was a completely retarded notion to think that you could remove the balding scalp, the current balding scalp, somehow suture that together. And they had to do it in a very specific way, which left something called a Mercedes scar or a dog-eared scar.
Mm-hmm.
And not realize that eventually, even if there's no stretch back, eventually the hair in that you pulled together in that hair-bearing area was going to be lost as well. And then you're just essentially left with a scar on the top of your head and you're continuing to bald. Not to mention that you're diminishing the density of the donor area and the occipital humps and all the great stuff that you need to create a really visual appealing hair transplant, or if someone wants to wear a hair system effectively, that's destroyed. You're completely changing the integrity of the scalp. I wrote about that in the original The Bald Truth back in 1998. You cannot believe the shit that I got from this industry. So to answer your question, no.
I bought that book.
You bought my book?
The thing about those is that even if all the hair survives, even if there's no hair that falls out from the trauma or from natural hair loss, they never look natural. Ever. I've seen several that, as far as the fullness goes, arguably look pretty good. Bald spot was removed. Not really any sort of real thinning to speak of on the patient's scalp. But man, do those hair angles look so bizarre. It was like a strange wig was put. Seriously, like a strange wig was put on their head, because it's like when something isn't right, but you can't figure it out, but you can't stop looking. That's what the even the best of these types of procedures look like. You can't quite figure out what, unless you're in the industry and you're like, something's weird with that guy's hair. And it's not even sometimes it's not even a conscious thought process, but something looks off and you're not sure what it is. If you have an idea of what you're looking at, then you just pity the guy because he can't style his hair like a normal head of hair. They were really bad. Like they were terrible. They really were. I never met anyone that was happy with one. And I met several in the early 2000s. I met several patients that have been through it. Yeah, bad stuff. Glad you didn't go through with one.
And then, thank God I did. But then I had a different doctor at the time say, a scalp. Well, they called it the
brandy scalp lift.
Flap.
Oh, the scalp.
Yeah.
Flap.
The
Fleming Mayer flap, or the TPO freeform flap. I think it's TPO. What happened to those? They went out of style because they were destroying people's lives.
Yeah, they're terrible.
It's interesting that you bring that up. I saw a video that came, a reel that came through my feed on TikTok. Dr. Garth Fisher was interviewing Craig Ziering from Ziering Medical, and they were doing something on hair. It came into my feed. I had no idea that Garth Fisher was he's a well-known boob guy, plastic surgeon here in Beverly Hills, super loaded. The guy charges so much. It was like $500 for a consult, or maybe it's $1,000 for a consultation now. But he was doing this freeform flap back in I was 25 or 24. I forgot. I was really young. I saw him on television. I flew out to Los Angeles to have a consultation with him. He turned me down. He said that I was not a candidate, for anything. And then he explained, he gave full disclosure that if this flap died, and he's never lost a flap, he said, but you would be stuck wearing a hairpiece for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And what was unique about what he was doing, and it was only done in Japan at the time, and I think he had one done actually, and that's why I was a fan of it, was the hair was actually, the peninsula of hair was removed completely from the scalp. And then it was microsurgically hooked up back to the vascular structure. and it was then put into a trench. So the hair actually grew in the right direction. And if it worked, you had a dense, super dense hairline with a scar on the side of your head, and then maybe you can wear a hairpiece behind it or whatever. In my naive mind, I'm like, I just need my hairline fixed. I'm going to go out there. I've got some dough. I hopped on the plane. I'm going to see this guy. He was like on a talk show, like Lisa, I think it was.
Oh my God.
It was, well, I mean, one of the reasons why I do what I do, and I actually wrote him, thanked him. He didn't get back to me yet. Son of a bitch. No,
still waiting.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you to get back to me, Garth. He turned me away, and I was just like, if this guy's turning me away, and I think at the time he was charging like $10,000 or $12,000, which was insane. But I was willing to pay it. He's like, listen, just go home. Propecia wasn't even around yet. Okay. He said, just, maybe get a shorter haircut or whatever. You're not a candidate. Changed my life. It made me really look further into these monsters who were willing to perform surgery on me. And so, yeah, it went out of style because it really effed people up.
Well, you're at a young age back then, and at a young age, you're desperate and seeking the fountain of youth, and you got a lot of people in trouble. Yeah.
Well, even at any age now,
okay, I see
these poor suckers out there who are like, they're 50 years old and they're talking about their hair transplant journeys on TikTok. I'm like, you just destroyed your entire head. So, all right, brother, listen, good luck.
Well,
Consider talking to your doctor about maybe switching back if you feel like you're really losing ground.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back to the stuff over the internet, which is what did I say, compounded, and try that again. I got really nothing to lose. I've been fighting this for 40 years. Well, what's it going to lose, right?
Well, hey, let me ask you real quick. So the finasteride you're taking now, is that name brand like Proscar or Propecia, or is it generic?
Generic.
Okay, and of course your minoxidil is. So here's my concern about what, like, I was waiting for you to say that, but my concern is it's been 3 years.
He can get more fucked up.
The likelihood of you getting the same exact product, even like, granted, you can find, if you can find the same source for this compounded medication.
It's a good point, Joe.
There's zero guarantee that they're using the same ingredients, because the way it works is these pharmacies, big and small, they go for the cheapest generic they can get. Like the big box stores, they'll do calls to bid for suppliers, and they look at who came in the cheapest for the quarter or for the year, and they'll switch, and no one knows.
Excellent point.
Your clientele don't know, your patients. Same with the online stuff. They're doing this to make some money. They're not doing this to help you. They just see a market that they can address. Right. It's like, oh, well, we make this stuff. Let's go online, or I want to get into the online pharmacy. But there are so many new online pharmacies and compounding pharmacies that have sprung up in the past 10 years.
It's insane.
It's
Everyone's
ridiculous.
Getting into the business, man.
You have YouTube influencers that have started their own online compounding pharmacies.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. So my point is, I don't know if it's a good idea to go back to that original, because I'll just say it. Odds are it's not going to be the same.
Joe, I'm glad that you butted in there, because I think that's important that you understand that. I mean, if you think you're really losing ground currently, like if it's like things are diminishing, you can definitely consider finding another generic. It's possible that the finasteride itself is working well, but maybe you just want to find another generic low-dose oral minoxidil and give that a shot. There's so many variables. And I would normally say talk to your doctor, but your doctor doesn't seem to know shit. So it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say, like, in my view, I think maybe think about it, consider getting a prescription for 5% or 5 milligram Proscar, no generic substitutes from your doctor, and try actual real finasteride from the source, from the original manufacturer, more or less. Cut it into quarters. I'm not a doctor, but this is how it's usually done. And try that in place of your generic finasteride. That, if it were me, that would be the logical first step for me to take, because I know I can get the name brand finasteride, Proscar. I can't get, if I'm in the States, I can't get the original minoxidil, which is Lonitin. I can up here in Canada, but I would start with one where you know you can get the name brand, and that would be the finasteride. Look into Proscar. It'll be cheaper than if you get Propecia, because more or less the same price, plus or minus, $10, $20, but because you're quartering it instead of taking the whole pill, you're extending that price by dividing it by 4. That's your end point on that. If you're taking it daily, if you're taking it every other day, then it's divide that in half, so it's even less as far as cost goes. So, I think that's an option to consider. I'm not a doctor. Find a good doctor that you trust that does know what they're talking about. Talk to them about it. Go to IAHRS. Maybe find a doctor in Texas that can help you with that. And consider your options. But at this point, I think your original is they've probably gone through 5 or 6 different formulations or generics to fill their quota, to fill their orders.
Okay, I'm going to try that, and I'll give you. Let's see if it works, and I'll give you a call back in a while and check in with you guys. I appreciate again you taking my call.
All right, man. Listen, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
888-659-3727. You're going to kill the guy.
I could be completely wrong, and I'll be calling in after you kick me off the show, just like Sid from the UK.
Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, guys. It's Seb from England.
I meant Seb, not Sid. Seb. I'll be calling in like Seb. How you doing, man?
What's happening, Seb?
How are we doing, guys?
All right.
I'm good. How are you guys?
Not bad.
Can't complain.
Can't complain. You can see I'm pushing on. I'm all of a sudden getting some weird upper abdominal pain, and I'm like, did I strain myself, or is it a tumor? That's where my mind goes.
Yeah, I'm similar. We've all done that. You Google it, symptoms. You've got a headache, and you look at the results, and it comes up with what is it, WebMD, and you think, oh dear.
It's funny, we used to provide hair loss content for WebMD through the American Hair Loss Association. Those sites are basically gone. They're dead now. They're trying to survive, large language model systems, but I don't think they are. Now, they still draw some stuff from there, but I think eventually those are going to go by way of the dodo.
Yeah. No, I'm similar. I have things spiral in my mind. I think, oh God, this is happening and that's happening. Next thing you know, you're doing headstands and all sorts of stuff to try and alleviate the issue. No, guys, I've had a really good day. And one of the main reasons is somebody complimented my hair today.
Really?
And
good for you.
Don't tell me it was your mother, because that doesn't count.
It wasn't. No. It was a human female.
A human female or a Cuban female?
That's what I was wondering.
A human female.
Wow.
Got it. Well done.
So
good for you, brother. I'm glad to see you're getting out.
Yeah. But no. So I think it was more like obviously I've been wet shaven bald for nearly 2 years, and I decided to sort of give it a go, grow it back, see if the medication works.
I'm just curious how you know she's Cuban.
You said human twice.
She's human.
Oh, human. How do you know she's human?
Male, yeah. I don't know. But no, so that really just took me by surprise. But okay, wow, yeah, it's working. It's not just in my head. It's really doing something. So that was great.
It's not just in your head. It's on your head.
I'm really happy for you, brother. It's a nice feeling.
Thank you. What did that guy say? It's not the hair on your head. It's the hair in your heart.
Dude, you've been listening for how long? Holy cow!
I'm going back in the archives. You know what? I was at work the other day. I was listening to one of the older shows of yours, and I just burst out laughing. I think it was today or maybe yesterday. Anyway, and the guy he was called in from, I think it was called Top Star or something. He was called
Top Star, yeah.
Wow.
And he was what was he? South African bloke, lived in the UK. He during COVID time, he flew to India, got a hair transplant, got stranded there.
He got stuck there and became homeless in India.
Which is not a place you want to become homeless.
Lost his flat, comes back, he's homeless. He's had his transplant done, and then he goes. And then, and he goes to his friends to pick up some dry goods, and then he ends up in a fight. He ends up in a fist fight with someone, and then his main takeaway was, his graft didn't pop out.
Right.
I was laughing so, and then he says he was taking finasteride, and he had a side effect where he said that like pus, he was ejaculating pus, something from finasteride. I burst out laughing. I said, I hope no one sees this because there's no way I can explain this.
I kind of remember the call, but was I able to control myself during the call?
I think we were both so incredulous. It's like
you're really professional, and I wanted to say today, you guys are so professional, and you're merciful is what you are, because some of these people call you, and some of these younger lads, they call you and they go, I'm booked in for a transplant next week, and you go, you tell them everything, you lay down the law and you help them as much as you can, and they go, okay, and they put the phone down, and Spencer, you say, he's going to get a hair transplant.
Right.
And then in about 3 weeks later, they call you and they go, hey guys, do you know anyone who does repairs in this area? And they've got like, I've got a feminine hairline, and it's all quadruples, and you're like, what the hell? But you guys are so, honestly, I must say, you guys are very professional, and I would lose my mind. I would tell these people, look, I would snap. So
can you imagine doing this for 30 years? The fact that I've been able to maintain some sanity, I think for me, it was good to get off the radio because there's we were reaching so many people back then. And it was always call after call. It was pretty crazy. Once I decided to go online, it was a little bit more tame. It was kind of like, all right, I'm doing this as a hobby now. But you cannot get it through to these guys.
Oh God, no. Oh, and that's it. On that very point as well. This thing I keep seeing. Look, I'm avoiding the forums. I know what you guys say. It's a great message. Just try to keep off that sort of whirlwind of information and that echo chamber. But occasionally, when I do pop on there, I see this thing over and over again. Has your hair loss stabilized? And Joe, you've got your title there. Hair loss is coming for you. That is so true. And these guys online, I don't want to, okay, here comes the mob. I'm going to say it. If you're so-and-so and your hair loss has stabilized, you can get a transplant without meds. You can be 30 years old. Your hair loss has slowed down. It's stabilized. Stabilized? Are you crazy? You guys say, okay, doing a hair transplant is like shooting a moving target. I would go further. Doing a hair transplant, when you actually look at it, it's like shooting a flock of pigeons with a machine gun, and behind that flock are a load of innocent bystanders stood behind. And you've got to shoot every single one and miss the innocent bystanders behind you. It could not be less of a stable situation.
That's an incredible, I guess that's a metaphor, and it's a, what is it called, Joe? Why am I missing the word now? I was just talking to ChatGPT about this. Analogy, thank you.
Analogy.
So all I can say is this.
Good thing it doesn't make
it. What'd you say?
Good thing it's not an anecdote.
Yeah. One thing I'll say is, no matter how long I've been doing this, it never surprises me, just the tremendous amount of not only desperateness, but pure stupidity, lack of understanding of what this process is. Everyone, and especially for the online experts behind the screen, on their keyboards, who are giving people advice that will alter their lives in ways they could never imagine, and that will transfer to their children and their wives. I mean, this is something that I don't know. I try to express this in a way that doesn't sound like overly dramatic, but it is a big fucking deal. You give somebody the wrong advice, you're cavalier with your advice, you're affecting multiple lives, not just that one person's life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And these forums, these experts, the guys that spend so much time, honestly, very few people in my 30 years that I've seen taking time on the forums know anything. Anything. Or they know very little. They just regurgitate what they think they is science from the studies in quotes and everything they read online. And there's only so much we can do. And we get a lot of hate for telling the truth.
100%.
Or we're called we're old codgers. We don't know what we're talking about.
It's interesting. I actually like dealing with Reddit, and I've told Spencer this, talking behind the scenes. For the past few years, I've engaged with Rabbit with Reddit, and it's been a real exposure, like going back in time.
It's so true.
Because
it's like alt.bald spot.
It really is. It's like
but for retards.
The Reddit today is like the internet literally 30 years ago, 1996, 1997, when there was very little internet, and you had like Spencer said, alt.bald spot, which was a message board, but it was like vertical text. You can't even, there's nothing out there like it today. And when you see something like it today, as far as a reference goes, it's old. Like it looks like it's out of,
Remember that dude Ernie, who was always after Farrell's ass, and he was claiming that if you pluck the hairs from your body, that you would grow it on your scalp.
Oh, I love that.
Yes,
I love that one.
But
he was great.
But,
I love that.
But these people that are giving this advice, like I'll never forget. There's this one guy on Reddit who had a following that was pretty big, and he talked a big game. He's a smart guy. Like he understood basic concepts and stuff, and he admitted that he took a lot of his information from the show, from Spencer and I, and he even called the show using an alias, using a strange name, saying he's in a different part of the world than he really is, because he's extremely private. But I won't say how, but somehow it was presented to me who this guy is. And when I look at who he is in real life, and I see the persona that he created on Reddit as this expert who talks about going to the gym all the time, and he's 50 years old, and ever since he's made the right choices about his hair loss, he's got confidence back, and he's dating all these women. And I won't get too far into it, but you look at who he is in real life, and I'm not going to say how he is in real life, but you see just how much of a facade these guys put up. These, I don't say keyboard cowboys, so cliche, but these know-it-alls where they're completely anonymous. You have no idea who they really are, what their intentions are, what their actual, I won't say expertise is, but what their actual understanding is of the concepts that they're discussing about surgical hair restoration or medical hair restoration through prescriptions. And these guys are listening to every word they say. They're contacting these guys offline, asking for consultations. They don't know who the fuck these people are. And they're asking for consultations that will absolutely impact their lives forever, and those that are also in their lives, family members, friends, spouses, whatever. I have a big problem with it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm in Reddit, because I try to counter that as much as I can. And sometimes I have to step back because there's just so much horseshit. It turns my stomach. Like I can't handle too much of it, or I just have to pull back.
We're different. I'm at the point now where it's like, let these idiots battle it out. Let them spend their lives on these message boards. What can I do? I can't deal with it anymore. I can't go on there and try to correct the information, let them know what the reality is, because then all of a sudden I become the target, which happened years ago, still happens to some degree. And sadly, what happens is, as I think Seb mentioned, it doesn't take 3 weeks, but these guys end up circling back and they're like, oh shit, what do I do now? You were right. I don't want to be right about these things as far as like the vast majority of kids having hair transplants today.
Yeah.
Their lives are going to be very different in 5 years. They are screwed. They have no clue, and they're convinced that, I want my hair now while I'm in my 20s. Okay, maybe you'll have some decent hair now in your 20s. Most likely your transplant doesn't look that natural, but you'll still deal with it, especially the way where people are going now. But let me tell you something, in your 30s or 40s, you're over. You're done. You're going to be left with nothing but wisps of hair, scar tissue, and your dick's in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Seb. You have the floor.
You're right. You're spot on. And and there's this. I know, Joe. You must see this. There is this war occurring on this hair transplant. Was it the hair transplant subreddit? This war about donor hair is completely and utterly immune to the effects of DHT, no matter how high or how low or how far above the ears the hair is taken, no matter where it's taken from. As soon as that hair has been transplanted, it is now completely indestructible. And there is a war going on between a sect of people who preach that and the other. It looks like the majority, thankfully, thank God, that say actually it's resistant at best. And there's this back and forth, and what I've noticed is the people on the former side, the people on the purely resistant side, immune side, immune to DHT, they get furious. And I can only imagine that they kind of know, they kind of feel it. They've probably had a procedure. They probably aren't on medication. They're probably spreading GHKCU on their head.
Yeah.
And they are secretly terrified.
But I also understand, and you do too, the confirmation bias, and that they have to fight it. Just like politics or whatever. I mean, you have to continue to battle. You made a mistake. You don't want to believe you made this mistake. That will alter your life in ways that they can't even imagine. But
yeah, Joe mentioned actually in one of the prior streams. Imagine going bald twice. It must be one of the worst things you can experience. And to me, that is one of my worst nightmares, is doing all of this legwork, having a procedure, a surgery, let's call it what it is, and somehow, some way, going bald again. I feel like that would affect me.
That is the normal course for young men who have premature hair transplants. That is the normal course. You will never see a guy. People are under the impression that it's because a transplant was done 20 years ago and that somehow this was an outdated procedure and people weren't taking medication or whatever. 20 years ago, that was the height of state-of-the-art hair transplant surgery, the pinnacle. 100%. That was when the logical endpoint occurred for this procedure. Finasteride had already been out there for a decade. Some patients were already on low-dose oral minoxidil or at least topical minoxidil. Everything we have today, we had back then, except there was a much more significant barrier to entry for these surgeons to get into the game. So in general, as bad as it was back then, the surgeries that were being performed on much more appropriate candidates by a team of technicians and surgeons who had a much higher skill set. And you'll hear these guys who call into the show who had surgery done 20 years ago. Now they're thinking about their 5th or their 6th surgery. They're still going bald. Yeah. They don't like the way they look.
Yeah.
They plan these obsolete surgeries. They plan. Oh, I'm gonna. Yeah, well, if it's not resistant, if it's not immune and it is going to fall out, I'll just go again. And I'm thinking,
and I'll just get SMP. I'll just go again. It doesn't work that way, man.
Oh my goodness, no.
Now the good news for us is, if I want to work for the rest of my life, I can. This is evergreen. I'll never go out of business. And it's all based on the stupidity and the vulnerability of these kids. All I do is I could keep going out there telling the truth, working with the organizations, the American Hair Loss Association, doing my thing, and the IHRS. And it's only because people don't listen, and because of the nature of the evilness and the apathy of even the good doctors in this field. Evilness of the bad guys and the apathy of the good guys. So, I mean, I don't have to sell anything. I don't have to deviate from my message ever. We can do the same show every week. We can get the same messaging out there through our other resources. And there's going to be a new crop of idiots finding their way back to us every month. Am I being too harsh, Seb? I mean, that's the reality.
It's brutal honesty is what it is. It's reality. It's the truth.
Yeah.
The bold truth.
Yeah.
But I did say, I did say to you guys, I do have a very a brief tale for you if you do have the time, and it is centered around this subject. I've told you some.
How's my hair today, Seb? Is it right?
It is spot on.
Thank you, brother. Go ahead. Now back to you. I've told you some stories from the past, and this one is actually very recent. This one. When I decided to take the medication about 6 months ago, I thought, right, if this works, if I am a good responder or even a hyper responder, this is going to look really strange. So I went to work that morning and I just told my co-workers, I said, look, I'm fed up with shaving my head bald. I'm going to give it one last try. I'm going to try and grow some back, stabilize my loss to some extent, and potentially look at a surgery in 1 or 2 years' time. I just said, I'm going to go ahead and say it because I don't want any questions or rumors. I just want to just say it and just kill it immediately. And the guys I work with, they're mainly they're older chaps, sort of in their, well, to me, they're older, mid-60s. You're not going to offend me. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Hey, look, you are in a different league to these guys. These are old English boys. You're not allowed to think about your appearance. You're not allowed to. This is forbidden.
You can't fix your teeth. You can't worry about your weight.
No,
of course not.
No, absolutely not. These guys are haggard.
Yeah.
So when I told them about this, they looked at me. They looked at me mortified. They looked at me like, what have we done? We have taken this man in to our team, this boy, this young lad. What the hell is he talking about his hair for? And they said,
where have we gone wrong?
Oh yeah, they looked at me. They looked at me like I'd run over their dog and then kicked it under the bush and pretended like it never happened. And I honestly, and I thought, well, you know what? And they go, why? And I said, it's getting to a point where if I don't do something now, I'm going to be screwed. Okay, whatever, get on with it, sort of thing. So that's all well and good. One of the guys I work with, he was distraught. He was disturbed by the news. And this guy, he is there such thing as a Norwood 8?
There should be.
There should be.
I'm deadly serious.
Yeah, I would say that Otar and Hamilton, really, they missed the mark with those scales.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. So yeah, I would say we joke around like a Norwood 10. You see these guys who have such diminished Hippocratic wreaths, the donor area, that I mean, it's like there's like 20 hairs back there.
The density of a dandelion in the donor area.
Exactly.
Oh no! You guys, you are spot on, Joe. That is this guy. I'm sure I've seen a diagram where it said Norwood 8 somewhere. But honestly, this guy, right? He is, and I get on with him. We work together. He's a sound bloke. But in this instance,
despite him being so bald, we still get along great.
yeah. I look past that. Right? But he is a Norwood 8.
Yeah.
So he's got severe retrograde. The top is completely gone. It is bizarre. But anyway, he was really, and he said, I've got more important things to do with my hormones than push hair out the top of my head. And he went, and he laughed at his own joke. And he really didn't like it. He didn't like the idea of someone saving their hair. So weeks go by, and there's talks in the UK, there's talks in England, I think in particular, of this new law that they're sort of throwing this new law around where tenants of houses or flats, they may be able to apply to purchase the property minus the cost of the rents they've paid.
Really?
So they've talked about it. It's not going through yet, but there's been talks of it. And this chap, he rents a couple of houses. So one day we're at the lunch table, and he's they're talking about this law. It's absolutely disgraceful. He says it's absolutely shocking. It's disgusting. They're talking about, and I know he rents a couple of houses. I look over the table to my younger co-worker. He's similar. He's in his early 30s like me, and I'm making a joke. So I start rubbing my hand. He goes, these renters are gonna get these properties minus the cost of rent. It's absolutely outrageous. I started rubbing my hands together. I started going. I said, I started rubbing my hands together, looking at my mate, because we're both renting houses.
Sure.
So I'm looking at him. I'm rubbing my hands together. I'm laughing. And then this guy gets really, really angry. His whole head turned red. And then he went, and I said, look, the tables have turned. I said, now these crazy house prices, we now have an opportunity to get the properties that that years and years ago we would have been a lot easier. And his whole head went red, and he stood up in front of everyone, in front of the whole canteen at work, and he said, "You know what, Seb?" He said, "You'd be able to afford a mortgage if you didn't spend so much money on your hair." And then he took his lunch, and he stormed out the canteen, and everyone froze, and we just all burst out laughing. And ever since then, it's been a running joke. It's
what's funny about that? Like,
wow.
I've been so I the one thing that I think I miss about in my life, and maybe I didn't miss it, but I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, and the only time I had to go to work as an adult was when I went to the radio station. So I never had that sense of like, being in a workspace is like being an adult in high school. You have all of the camaraderie and the bullying and the cliques and all the the comedy and the lunchrooms and all that shit. And I just find it interesting. I find like I missed that part of life. And the fact that this is a grown man losing his effing mind like he's a child in grammar school at the lunch table is amazing to me.
And I've seen that many times.
Angry. I've never seen him like that before, and never since. It was just that one moment he snapped. He saw his assets at risk. I was, I'm growing my hair back. He's a Norwood 8, and it was too much.
He just fucking lost it. He couldn't deal with it. Now let me ask you about this law. I'm curious. This is interesting. So, do the renters have the right of first refusal, or is that the way that it works? Or I
doubt it.
I've not looked into it too far, but it's. I think it's we have social housing, which you guys have your own version, state to state, I'm sure, of your own project housing, social council. So years ago, my understanding is that if you were in a council property, council house, council flat, if you were living there for 10 years, there would be something called right to buy. So it enables the tenant to apply for a mortgage or to the option to purchase the property. But more recently, they've slowly phased that out. So it's become a bit more difficult. They've privatized the council properties, which is just bonkers. But that's what they've done. So it's a similar kind of idea where I suppose it'd be a set amount of time renting, and then I suppose I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but it's something about, you're there for a set amount of time, you get the option to purchase after a certain period of time, and there's talks of the cost minus either a portion or the full amount of the rent paid, because a lot of the rent that we're paying these days in this country, I suppose, it's quite high, and it's been climbing up with inflation and what have you. So I think it's just.
Well, I want to ask you. You're a young guy, and again, I am someone who's kind of been through this in their lives, and let's just say I have a lot of experience with property. What is it about this culture, especially the younger culture in particular, even here in the U.S., that still find it so important to own the home that they live in? Is that fear that you have no control of it being kicked out at some point? Is it that you think that you're wasting your money on rent, or you think that you're not going to have a lifelong asset to give to your children? I mean, what is it exactly?
For me, personally, it is a mixture of all three of those points. It's just the idea of security, it's a bit silly, really, because as with anywhere, most places in the world, once you quote unquote own a property, even if you pay your mortgage off,
you still have to pay taxes.
You've got council tax. Yes, you've got all sorts of, and God forbid, you've got a large amount of land, and you've got protected trees and things and all sorts going on, rivers and little streams at the bottom of the garden. If you've got any of this stuff, it becomes a nightmare. It's a massive money sink, and I feel sorry for people who live in England especially, who live near the coast, because it's like the coastline is like they're eroding. I mean, I'm sure it's a natural process, but these houses are getting closer and closer to the ocean. I'm thinking,
I can tell you, I'm going to give some young people advice. I've told Tillman this as well, and other people in my life. At least here in the U.S., the American dream of owning a home is really the dream for the American Association of Realtors. And it is not, it should not be the dream of any critically thinking person who is interested in creating long-term wealth. That's it. Now, those down payments, all the money you're paying for different types of insurances, you have renter's insurance and you have homeowners, taxes, all that stuff. If you are disciplined enough to put that into, say, at least here in the U.S., S&P 500 index funds or T-bills, even T-bills, for the long haul, you're going to have a hell of a lot more money. You're not going to be house poor. And you're going to be able to take the cash that you have and invest it wherever you want to invest it, use it for your life. There's a big difference between wealth and having money. And a lot of people have wealth on paper, but they don't have any money. You can't do anything without money. So I'm not saying it's a bad idea. If you have a family and it's great to have the same house for your children and all that stuff. But anyone who thinks that they're missing out on some sort of a dream to become a homeowner or wealthy in their lives, that is one of the worst investments you can make for the long term. That's all. This is not a financial advice show. I am not an expert. Go ahead. Sorry.
I've just moved all of my assets into investments just now, so and I can't undo it.
But that's just it just frustrates me. I have like younger nephews, and I'm just like, listen, man, unless this is where you want to stay for life, if you think this is some sort of a safety net, that's a bad idea, man.
Yeah, my sister's just bought a house. Well, they've got a mortgage and they've moved in with the young baby boy, and there's rising damp. So now they're sleeping at a friend's house. They've got contractors in building the walls from the ground up on it.
And that house you could always have black mold in the house. They may never remediate it. What is it called, Joe? Mold remediation. Jeez, I can't think of the word. But they may never fix that completely. And if they do, still, so right away there's a new expense. So that goes on top of the cost of their house. The great deal that they made with the interest rates. And then in 20 years or 10 years, you may need a new roof. Again, not saying it's a terrible idea if this is the life that you want to have and you want your kids to have one stable home for the rest of their lives. And, you can hand that down to them if it's done correctly, which it could still be a pain in the ass for the kids. But that dream is, maybe it was 1945. It makes sense. Anyway, I'm very passionate about it, as you can see, because I just see so many people falling for this trap.
Yeah, it's like the end. It's like the finish line. Oh, I've got a house. Oh crap! And then all these it starts falling to pieces. But no. Great conversation as always, guys. I will tell you that little story, the Norwood 8 guy. That is part 1. There is a part 2, and it's even more ridiculous. But I will save that one for you. I've got to. That is one to save. Really is.
We always appreciate the call, Seb. I'm sorry if I just lectured you on real estate. I should not have gone so ham, but I feel passionate about that, especially for young guys, because so many people get themselves in this situation where they are just stuck and they have to make those payments. They got to pay that mortgage. They don't want to lose that house. It's not always a great situation for people.
No, I've seen some fairy tale endings go very, very Brothers Grimm with some of my friends and people I've gone to school with. I've watched them buy houses, and then A, B, C, D. Next thing you know, they're in a flat. They've got this, they've got that, and it's all real stress for them. So, yeah.
I mean, I did great, but I'm just saying. All right, brother. Take care. All right,
you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Cheers.
See you, Seb.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. It's just a little, knowing what I know, it sets me off. I guess it shouldn't. It's none of my business, really.
It's okay. I'm still thinking about the Norwood 8, and now I want to jump back into the Reddit wars, because I've got images I've taken over the years, stealthily in public settings, blur the faces out of Norwood 19s, like I said, the density of a dandelion in the back of someone's head where the donor area is supposed to be. The proof is there.
That's reality. I'm just reading the chat. To each their own, but I don't want BlackRock being my landlord, which is the way it's going. You'll own nothing and be happy. Oh, God, people are they really fall for all this shit. It's unbelievable, really. BlackRock will these companies will maybe own 7% of the rental properties across this country, even if it gets to 15%. It's unbelievable. I mean, people are so brainwashed. I get it, though. It's scary. It's a scary thought not to have something of your own. But it's not your own.
But
it's not yours, no matter what you think. Not saying I haven't done well in that situation. I have. There's different times.
The answer is commercial property that you rent, that you lease, or lease out.
Well, commercial property now is dying too because of ever since the pandemic. But I mean, some commercial property for certain things, and like dialysis places, and those are always going to do. People are going to need the dialysis, but for office buildings and stuff like that, medical facilities.
If Spencer Kobren has anything to do with it.
I'm not a big fan. And trust me, you guys do not want to be a landlord. That is a pain. I mean, not everyone has a great experience. That's all I'm going to tell you. All right, guys, phone number 888-659-3727. This is the Hair Loss Show, not the Real Estate Hour and not the Investment Hour.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm not here to give you guys any advice on that, except, just like with hair, just like with hair loss, I know the truth, and it's not pretty.
It's not pretty. Basically, the world sucks. So stick your head between your knees and kiss your ass goodbye. Good night.
Yeah. I like this kid. Boomers don't get it. I'm not a boomer. I'm close to being a boomer. I'm on the edge of being a boomer. I'm actually like the oldest of the Gen Xers. But we get it. And we see you suckers falling for it.
You heard it here first.
And us boomers were in a position where you could make a significant amount of money for savings if you did things correctly in the right areas.
That's back when a house cost a nickel. So,
dude,
back
in my day, you could buy a house in a really nice
block,
gated community for $350,000. And that was a lot.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when I was really young. 18, 19.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was big money. Big money, yo.
Tom Likas used to do money. He did do Money Monday. What's funny? I do kind of miss Likas being on the air. When he had his podcast, he was trying to make a business out of it. And I was actually, I knew Dean and Gary, and I went to the studio. It was really cool the way they set everything up. I personally felt that it was kind of a mistake setting it up that way and having that much overhead when it was unnecessary. Mm-hmm. But he put a valiant effort into it. And I enjoyed the guy. I enjoyed his show. It was always very entertaining. I don't agree with a lot of certain things, but he was a funny guy, man. And when he was doing the shot of Westwood One, he would, he's really nice to me, let me sit in and watch all the time and hang out, and it was hilarious. He was a great guy. Phone number, 888-659-3727. We can take a couple of phone calls if anybody wants to effing call.
We won't talk about real estate. Promise.
Yeah.
It's done.
I'm having an ocular migraine as we speak, guys. Ooh. And I'm still doing the program.
For free.
No money down.
What was that? I like what's his name? Richie Rich was saying earlier. He said, I think it's about the Reddit stuff. Or was it? Or Nick and Bricks. So elaborate with a medical therapy, a hair transplant, you'll still continue to lose. Oh yeah. He was actually asking. So to elaborate, even with medical therapy and a hair transplant, you will still continue to lose hair? ? So if you have a transplant too early, then you're screwed? Maybe. Because medications don't necessarily always stop your hair loss. They can greatly slow it. And then when you have a hair transplant, the hair loss still continues, albeit at a much slower pace, to where you do need another surgery, at least one, maybe two more, depending on, all kinds of different situations. But yeah, that's basically it. It's very rare to see someone young. Actually, I can't think of any case where someone young, and we'll say under 30, got one hair transplant and was good, set for life.
Even 3?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I don't even think 3. I'm sorry. Sorry for all the hair transplant surgeons out there that we work with. If someone is under the age of 30 in general, I would say 20, in their 20s, mid-20s, who starts in this process, within the first few, they're going to have their second one now on average It seems like it's like 8 months, but it's more like 11 months. They didn't even wait the full year to get topped up.
Yeah.
Now, not by a reasonable surgeon, but in all these clinics, it's around 11 months for their second procedure, and they think they're just getting improved, more stuff filled. No, that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
That first surgery that you have, in general, should be something that you allow to evolve for a few years, live with it. Hopefully it's going to look 100% natural and be able to stand on its own.
Mm-hmm.
In case you run out of money, you get sick, your doctor dies, whatever. All that's possible. It is not the idea of just starting the process and saying, I'm going to get, this is the first stage. I'm getting my first transplant. And then I get a top up because the hairline's a little off, or, for whatever reason, this side didn't grow as well. That shouldn't be happening. Mm-hmm. It happens, but that's not where you do not go in with that idea. And now I see kids going in with that. Like, they think that's the process. You have your first transplant, and then you get it topped up because it's probably not going to be as thick as you want it. Everything's so skewed. It's almost it's obscene, actually, the way this industry, how things have devolved, and the way that the consumer is driving this industry.
It is, and I was thinking, the idea of the one and done, like we'll say the one surgery and never needing another. They're not thinking about, like, that's assuming everything in their life is perfect. Money's never going to be a problem. Economic situations are never going to be a problem. Your own hair loss isn't going to be a problem. Everything's going to work. Your medication is going to continue to hold you for 20 years. Your health, all these factors they assume are going to be maintaining a positive existence. But then I thought, it's like, well, let's look at the medical side of things with medication. Look at Propecia and dutasteride, Avodart. The price of both have skyrocketed, especially Avodart.
Yeah,
like it's really out of control from what I've heard, or Propecia even. And what happens when the name brand gets so expensive that it's actually hard to afford? You do the obvious, you switch to generics, and that in and of itself can be the catalyst for all the future problems. Because if that generic isn't quite as good as the name brand, there it goes. Your hair continues to fall out at a faster rate. Surgery number 2 is a necessity, not a luxury, if you want to have a normal look about you, because that first surgery packed too much in the front, and it cascades. It's a snowball effect.
There is this, part of me feels remiss not to reach out to this poor guy. But there's a guy, an Australian guy, that went overseas to have a hair transplant. He's posting his stuff on TikTok and I think Instagram. I'm not even going to name the account. I mean, I just feel terrible for this guy. And there are people who are trying to hold his hand through this process and saying, yeah, I went through the same thing and it's going to get better. And this guy is decimated. He's like 33 days out. He thinks what's happening in the back and sides of his scalp is shock loss in the donor. And yeah, there's definitely shock from this severe trauma and the reality that, definitely over-harvested. But even if it wasn't a complete over-harvest, these guys just do not fully grasp that if for some reason the donor grows back to some degree, it's never growing back to the way that it should grow back. Mm-mm. You are losing thousands of potential grafts that can be utilized later. Even if you can cover it up, even if it grows long enough, you can cover it up and you're like, oh, it's a little patchy in certain areas, but no one can see it. You've been screwed. You're done. At 30 days post-op, you should not look like your entire head has been, like you've been bitten by a shark. That's not normal, people. Now,
I stand on record back in the day that, a proper FUT, which was not just strip, but by definition is proper follicular unit transplantation, use microscopes and the more refined technique. I can't recall a single case where one strip wiped out someone's donor.
I've never, no, ever. I've seen some really bad scars. And you're like, oh my God, that really sucks. But the hair above and below and to the sides were 100% usable. They were untouched.
Virgin. Yeah.
So corrective procedures were possible. I mean, it's really, really sad. And I mean, I could send you this guy's Instagram, Joe, so you could see it.
Please do. I was going to ask for it. Yeah.
But
I'd like to see it.
It is. Oh, it's funny. Our boy just sent me 16 days post-op. That's interesting. He just sent it. Let's see if I can get you guys to see this. Let me download the image. And let me brighten it up a little bit because it's a little dark. I think you guys are going to be interested in what it should look like, what a donor should look like 16 days post-op. I will try to brighten this up so you can actually see everything perfectly here. That's good. Now, I am not sure if you're going to be able to see it on my camera well. He always sends the smallest images. But this is our boy from Australia, 16 days post-op. This is what his donor looks like. Joe, are you able to see that clearly? Oh, damn it. No, you can't. Let's see.
You have the same problem as I did last week.
I do. Let's see.
Closer. Okay.
Oh, that
better?
looks terrible now. It looks like his head is... Hold on, let me see if I can send it.
It looked better when you got closer, but can you send me the link?
First of all, let me send you this image to show you what looks good. Be patient, people. Jesus Christ, 61.
Let's see. There it is.
And I will send you the link to this guy's page. It's ridiculous, actually, what's happening to this other poor guy.
There we go. God, looks. Oh wait, did he not send it to me? He's been sending me all of his updates.
Well, he sends them to me first, brother. All right, and this is the poor guy in Australia who is
like he even for no wait. His 14-day looks great. And that's what you just sent me. 16 or 14? It's exactly like 14.
Well, it's only 2 days of growth, but I think I sent you 16.
Yeah.
Now see if you can see if it shows up on your camera better than mine.
Okay. Oh God, that hairline. Oh wow.
Look at the hairline. Look at the guy's donor.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
He's 35 days out.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't show that on the show. I mean, I don't want to offend this kid. But
I just want to.
You can show the other one. You could show the good one. You can show what it's supposed to look like. But anyway, so I was thinking about reaching out to him and saying, that it's probably a good idea for you to be assessed by someone locally now. I don't want you to panic, but if there's any damage done, it's better to try to get to the point where you're treating the area so that it could possibly remodel better, or it be, under the. No, that looks terrible. It looks like he's been hacked. That's not the way it looks. The white spots it's all hair.
So let me see if I can fix this. Okay.
You know what? I'll make a post on my Instagram.
Yeah, it's probably best.
Actually, let me see. I could do it right now. I could probably post a story as we speak, right?
Mm-hmm. But I want to see if I can adjust the brightness and the contrast on this, because there's exposure. See if that'll help. There we go. Better.
It's better, but it still looks better in the picture.
Yes, it's not going to be 1-to-1.
Because all that white area is actually hair that's grown in.
Let's try one more time. There. Oh wait.
It's better, but it still looks. I mean, that's better, but it still doesn't look like. It still looks better on your phone.
Yeah. One more try. Go to contrast.
I'll make a reel about it, guys. Go to my Instagram later, and I'll post something.
Final try. There we go.
I mean, that's pretty good, but it's still. Wait, you're losing it. It still looks even better than that, but that's pretty good. That's 16 days out of a state-of-the-art FUE.
Yeah.
But all that the contrast, it makes it look like there's spots where there's no hair. It's all hair.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's all hair.
The number of grafts, Trumpy Bear Armageddon was asking, I think that was
1,900.
It wasn't more? It was just 19?
It was 19, but I mean, it was taken from a relatively small area. I mean, it was spread out well. But, if it was to be, say you doubled those grafts, that particular physician would have shaved higher up, still within what's considered the new FUE safe zone, but it's really not 100% safe. So it still would have been homogenized like that. And, all the hair as it's growing out after only 2 weeks, it looks like nothing was done. I mean, you can't see anything. Basically,
it was looking solid a week out.
Yeah,
like 16 days. Split that in half. 8 days out, it was looking really solid.
So even if you had
really good.
double the grafts, that removed from what physicians are now claiming to be the safe zone, which they go all the way up to the top of the crown, all the way down to the nape, and all the way out to the sides. Even the best physicians are doing this. That area would still grow in like nothing was touched, and he could have had double the procedure. So for those who are saying, oh, it's only 1,900 grafts, that's why it looks so good. No, that's not why it looks so good. It looks so good because that's how state-of-the-art dissection of FUE grafts looks. Not like the guys that are coming back from overseas and they're a bloody mess. That's not normal.
And some not going overseas, sticking to North America, also going home with a bloody mess in their head.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Flying to, it's funny. There's this one guy I see online now that's talking. There's some facility in Miami where they're bringing over Turkish techs and docs. And they're saying, we're bringing the best doctors from Turkey here.
Yeah. That's their angle.
I'm just like, oh, holy shit. A, that's brilliant because people are so stupid.
Yeah.
But that's what it's come down to. Like somehow, because the physician was trained, in quotes, in Turkey, that they are somehow more sophisticated, they have a better skill set than anyone trained anywhere else in the world. That's what it's come down to. It's wild.
And the technicians.
Yeah.
And the technicians, as if they're better than any technician in North America. I won't go into it, but why that's so
Look,
stupid.
I got to tell you, though, it's brilliant. The whole thing, I got to hand it to these Turks and the Indians. They took the U.S. model, scaled it in a way that I could never have imagined, put their own spin on it. And this is where we are today.
I don't even look at it like that. I don't think they took the U.S. hair transplant model. I think they took the U.S. automobile model. They did a Henry Ford in that motherfucker.
They combined it. Let's face it.
That's what they did.
Some of the so-called pioneers in FUE, the guys that are taking all the credit, not the guys who deserve the real credit.
Right.
They're the ones that put the first punch in a non-medical personnel's hand.
Oh, you're talking about you're talking about the real model.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The guys that are complaining about that the technician model, they're the ones who started the technician model. They weren't going to take the time to learn how to do it themselves initially. Like, here,
no,
I'm paying you $25 an hour. Go for it. Let's see what you can do for us. Figure it out, and then I'll take the reins. And that's exactly what happened.
I remember speaking to a world-class FUT surgeon, and he said to me, and this is a direct quote, "The day I pick up a punch to make a living is the day I retire."
Yeah.
2 years later, technicians were in the office doing all the extractions while he was still making the recipient sites.
And I think first there was a robot purchased.
Well, first it was a robot, yeah. And when they learned that they couldn't let technicians run the robot, they still had to be in the room. They said, "Nah, we're good."
Yeah, and so in their mind, the robot was a complete failure. And in most cases, the robot is a failure. That's just the reality of it. You don't know how to use it, it's a failure.
So because their technicians couldn't run the robot, like they thought, Eureka! You mean a robot can do the surgery and a technician can run it? We're in. They're like, you got that half right.
What I found funny is that I was asked about it, and I said, yeah, I mean, but you have to learn how to use it, but it could really benefit the practice in your hands.
And when they found that out, after they bought the robot and then sent it back because it's like, well, we can't use it the way we thought we could. They sent 2 technicians to Turkey to learn how to do it the right way from a very good clinic.
That's the best.
And brought it back to teach the doctors what they were doing.
Yeah.
And become like the actual surgeons at the clinic, while the surgeon got all the glory for making the recipient sites.
Yeah. And here's the good news.
That's the business that we choose to work in.
Yeah, and this is the business that we've chosen to be in. The good news is they're both retiring. What?
Yeah.
Joe
one has
silent.
No, I'm reading
888-659-3727. We'll take this call. I don't know. I can get some drinks tonight. Listen, the world is my oyster. Joseph, at this stage.
You're not a landlord.
Yeah, a lot of things actually. No, not kind of. All that stuff is behind me.
Okay, yeah,
I am free.
I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was.
888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello. Yeah. This is Peter from Vancouver, Canada.
Hey, Peter from Vancouver, Canada.
What's up, bro?
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
I'm doing well. I've been watching the show for the past few months, actually. But I've usually been at work, but I'm on vacation for this week, so I actually had time to call in.
I'm glad.
But it's great to meet you.
And you didn't leave. You didn't leave Vancouver. You're on vacation. You didn't leave.
It's a staycation, actually. My brother's getting married here in Vancouver, so I'm actually still around. But I mean, no work, so just getting to kind of relax a bit, and was just watching the show. So it's really cool to get to talk to you guys. I have I've been listening in, and you have some amazing advice. So
we really do.
We really do.
For sure. Yeah, so I thought I would just tell you a bit about my journey and see if you have any advice for me on, what next steps I might take, or, even just how I'm treating the problem myself and any advice on how I could do that better. So, yeah, how does that sound?
I would
Sounds
love
great.
to hear it. And as far as advice is
Good.
concerned, I think Joe's getting hangry, so let's make it fast. I'm just kidding.
All right.
We're here for you,
For
buddy.
sure. So I'm in my early 20s. I first started noticing hair loss in my late teens. So when I was 19, I got on finasteride and topical minoxidil immediately. So I think that was a good first step. I did that regimen for about a couple of years. So that was, I started in March 2023 and did that till about like summer 2025. So I think it worked really well. It kind of slowed the progression. And I started when I was around, I'd say like a Norwood 2, Norwood 2.5, and I'm still around like a Norwood 2, Norwood 2.5.
Okay.
Maybe a tiny bit of additional thinning along the hairline, but pretty much been the same. So it's been working very well. I did notice a little bit of a decline in density. So around summer 2025, I spoke to a doctor. I actually also went to Hassan and Wong, not to talk about like doing a procedure in the near term. I actually left in the notes that like I just wanted to talk to whichever doctor they gave me a consultation with and just like talk about what my hair loss trajectory would look like and what potentially doing a procedure when I was like 30 or late 20s or whatever would look like. So I talked to Dr. Wong, and I thought that was actually a really good way to get some advice because obviously his time is very valuable, but I only had to pay about $100. I didn't get a full hour of consultation, but so he mentioned that like it did look like I was losing a bit of density and mentioned I should increase the dose of finasteride that I was taking. So I moved away from the name brand 1 milligram finasteride, which is actually quite expensive, and went on to the generic 5 milligram, and I just cut it into fourths. I did that for a little bit, but I also noticed that like the efficacy was like nonlinear because as you add on additional milligrams, you don't get like the equal additional efficacy. So I eventually decided to do dutasteride. So I started 0.5 milligrams daily dutasteride in kind of late 2025, I think probably like October, November. I got off of topical Rogaine and got on oral minoxidil, and it was going quite well. And then I recently added in RU58841. So I do a pretty high dosage of that. I do around 200 milligrams daily topically applied. And yeah, so I've been kind of like going nuclear a little bit, but I haven't really had any issues with that. No side effects that I could ever identify. But I'm curious, like, because I am in my early 20s, like I'm 22. Do you have any advice for me on like the best way to approach this type of problem? Because for me, what I really want is just to not have to worry about this. And the reason that I've been so aggressive in treating it is because my family has like a pretty bad, or let's say like they're quite exposed to hair loss. So like I have older brothers and they had more of a progression. So I'm just trying to avoid that. But I'm curious, like, do you just have any advice for me?
Well, it sounds like you have avoided it. And it sounds like throughout this entire process, you've been very lucky. You've had no adverse side effects. You've only seen positive results. You are now you are going nuclear now that you're on a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor that blocks actually 3 types, but mainly type 1 and type 2 5-alpha reductase. And as far as the RU58841, that's questionable, but you're already on it, so you don't want to mess with it anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you didn't give it you didn't give dutasteride and low dose oral minoxidil enough of a chance to see if that's all you needed, and the gray market products. I can say this: there's been no one in the history of this field that has had any long-term success with any form of RU58841. However it was made or marketed, or, you will see stuff on the forums and bodybuilding forums, and this is what you should do. And some people might get an initial boost. Some people may think they're getting some, positive impact for a few years, but no one's really sure. But the guys who were never on a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, never on low-dose oral minoxidil, who just used these gray market topicals, I would tell you that, at least in my world, everyone went bald. So, in your case, you've got the bases covered. So you're doing really well. I'm not going to tell you to get off of the RU58841 because that can screw you up. I mean, if it's compounded correctly, it is an topical anti-androgen. And so you are going to potentially have an effluvium if you get off of it now. You know?
Yeah, for sure. And so for me, the reason to get on it, and like you said, it's purely experimental. The FDA data on it hasn't even been released, and we don't even know why they stopped the trials on it. But it's mostly.
Well, I do. I wrote about it in the original The Bald Truth. I had access to this information back in the late 90s, but no one wants to listen to me. None of these kids. So,
right.
The reality is that it never fully went through any type of real safety trials. It ended before the trial stopped before they understood what the real safety profile was. It was based on a financial decision because finasteride was approved, and it was also based on the information I had. The thought was some people were experiencing adverse side effects like finasteride. Now, again, that's hearsay. I didn't hear that directly from Rousseau, but what I did hear from the company back in the day was it was a financial decision for them not to move forward.
That's interesting. Yeah, and I mean, if it was a financial decision, I think that would be reassuring. Because
it is.
At
that
least
is.
It's not that it's had any insane side effects for any people, but.
That is the one reassuring aspect of it. However, there are people who were in the field who claimed to have access to the information who said that there was a potential for adverse side effects in some men. Now, I don't know, but you even read about those online.
Yeah, for sure, and I think RU58841 is the one treatment where I didn't really put that much rigor into reading the science because frankly, it's very limited what's out there.
Sure.
It was more so just anecdotal cases. There are a couple of people on YouTube that I personally have found really helpful, and they both gave a review to RU58841, one of which is More Plates, More Dates. Derek.
He
had a very stellar review of it, including weekly photos. And in this case, it was just anecdotally seemed to be working for certain people. There were some posts of a monotherapy, just only doing RU58841, which seemed to have some effect. So I thought, why not?
Listen, as long as you're not having any adverse effects and you know that you're getting it from the same source, and hopefully whoever's compounding it now, because before they used to have to just send you the powder, you'd have to put it together yourself. But now I'm seeing products that are being sold on Amazon, which is crazy. I don't even know how that's possible. But it's still listed as an experimental product. Yeah, listen, to me, if you're doing well right now, don't fuck with anything. So to answer your question, what should you do? You're doing everything. You're throwing the kitchen sink at it. And you're doing
Let me
well.
ask you this. So if it didn't get to safety profile, how do we know that there weren't any reported adverse side effects?
Yeah, I mean,
the hearsay is that there is. I don't want to put it out there like people that it was possible. That's all I'm going to say. That's the hearsay that I got 30 years ago, and we do see that online today.
Yeah. So here's the way I look at it. First off, Peter, you said that you want to be able to not worry about your hair loss.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. it's
right.
It's not going to happen because you already pre-qualified that by saying that a lot of your family members are already have a preponderance for a lot of hair loss, and you're reminded of it every day when you see your family members. So you're always going to worry about it. The question is, how do you deal with it? And I think that you're young, and I get it. You want to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at it. You want to go nuclear because you're reading about it in all these platforms where everyone else is going nuclear with their approach. And I get it. It's like, what else are you going to do?
I would have.
But yeah, of course, I would too, of course. Yeah. But as Spencer said, you're already doing what you're doing. Don't stop. Like, for God's sakes, don't say, oh, well, I'm not seeing anything with RU, I'm going to stop with that. No, you are not in a position where you have that luxury, especially because it is an anti-androgen. You're looking at potentially the same effects of any other treatment that you're taking or not taking that you would start up and cease, just stop taking, and that is a shed, whether it be permanent or temporary, no one knows. So you're pretty much locked into what you're doing now, or you should be, because you just don't want to risk that type of side effect of ceasing any of the treatments. And I agree with Spencer. Like, it would have been nice if you'd given the oral minoxidil, a bit of a longer test period to see how it was going to work out for you. But you are where you are now, and nothing you should do. You can do all kinds of things about it, but there's nothing you should do about it. I think the best way moving forward is stay the course, monitor, and try to enjoy your life as much as you can. Just make this a part of your routine and move on.
I don't know why that depresses me the way that you put that out there to this kid. I think you're in a good position. And I think the fact that you have been treating it for so long with no adverse side effects, and you've seen success, and that you think, and you feel like you're holding ground, you're in a much better position than a lot of guys your age who started so young. I could only have wished to have anything that actually worked when I started to lose my hair. Did not exist. Rogaine was not even approved. That's how old I am. I had to wait 7 long years before I got my hands on finasteride.
Right.
I was compounding Lonitin, which I should have taken orally, but I was compounding Lonitin, having it compounded with SD alcohol and propylene glycol and whatever else they were putting in there. And I would put it on my head at night, and it would be like powder in the morning. But that's all I had. So you are incredibly fortunate, and the likelihood, as long as you respond well, it looks like you are, the likelihood of you slowing this to a crawl is very high. You may not really notice any significant change until you're in your 30s. So I want to give you a little bit of a brighter picture than Joe, who says you can never stop worrying about it.
I don't think
I prefer to dose reality here.
I'm giving you reality.
Look, the upside to this doom and gloom apparently I'm giving you is that you're on the right course.
He gets so offended. I just can't joke with him.
You've had the success, and yeah, I mean, you caught it early. It's just don't be one of these guys that says, "Oh, well, I wanted to try something new." Stop doing that. Like, don't do that ever again.
You've done it.
Yeah. You've done the testing.
Sure.
I'll try this. I'll try that. Don't stop at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't stop what you're doing. Don't add anything to it. Don't take anything away. And like I was saying earlier, just make it part of your routine and move on.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I think if I had the opportunity to get on medication, like when I was your age, I would not be dealing with this hair frisbee that I have right now as I'm looking at it. And,
dude, if I had access when I was 22, instead of getting 2 bad hair transplants, I wouldn't be here.
What year did you have your transplant?
You look great, though.
What year did you have?
Great.
Thank you. What year did you have your transplant?
I mean,
not you.
92.
Sorry?
92.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I mean, I read about finasteride in 94. It was approved in 92 for benign prostate hyperplasia.
Yeah.
So I read about it in 94. It took me a year to get on it, I think, or 6 months, because the doctor who I was buying his crap from, the Leuenberg formula. Sorry, Adam, if you're still alive, but you know how I feel about it. Was trying to scare me not to take it. And after a while, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. And I found a doctor. He prescribed it to me. 3 months later, I'm like, holy cow. And I decided to change my life and write a book about it.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are.
So thank you for saying we look great, but it could have been better.
Yes.
A lot better and a lot easier. Mm-hmm. The stress that I try not to think about this much, but the reality is I lost my 20s as far as my psychological well-being. I figured out a way to live life and get laid and become successful and all that stuff, but I was miserable. And alcohol entered the picture, and I was smoking cigarettes. I never smoked cigarettes. I mean, that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I miss them, though. I tell you, I miss them. But,
right.
You know, so just consider yourself really lucky. You're in a position now where you can enjoy this part of your life.
I do really appreciate that. Yeah. And, I mean, I think you see it a lot on the Reddit forums. I think it's just part of the human condition, really. I mean, no matter how well you're dealing with it, you always know that you could be dealing with it better. So,
you don't know that.
Yeah, like I totally agree.
You think you know that. People think that grass is greener. But what you kids have today, I sound like an old man. What you kids have today, it's a miracle. It is an absolute miracle. So
for sure.
My advice to you is get off the forums if you can. Get off of Reddit. Yeah. You found your miracle. And then if things stop working for you or slow down, you could always go back. It's always going to be there to haunt you. These forums and Reddit.
Right.
There's always going to be, you're going to be able to read a lot. The misery is going to continue on these places.
Yeah. No, well, thank you guys so much. I mean, I took a lot of your time, and just wanted to say like how much your advice has really helped me. And like you said, when you guys were both going through this, when you were younger, there weren't many resources, and now I feel like there's a lot more, and you guys have done a great job, I think, of, helping give guidance to people like me. So I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you saying that.
I just wanted to say,
thank you.
Yeah, like you guys have such great advice. I think, if you ever wanted to have more of an impact, I think there's a lot you could do in terms of just cutting up your videos a bit, putting, tags on different parts of the video so that people can navigate, and kind of, it'll be a bit more digestible. I always thought that was something that you could do. And I really think you could have a huge reach because like no one, I think really does a great job of kind of providing this level of guidance and putting out the content that you guys are. So I always thought that was something that you could do if you wanted to. But I also know that you like to kind of take it easy now that you're getting a bit older. So
what? How dare you?
I'd mention.
No, here's the thing. I've lent this. I basically put this in Joe's hands. That's it. You know?
That's good.
Now, are you in a position to clip this show and do all those things?
I was going to say, let's hire him.
I think you guys can find someone better. I have like no social media as it is. So you guys can find someone better. But I do think you guys could do, I think you are doing a great thing. And I hope that more people start paying attention because I think you have a lot of valuable advice. So,
well, I appreciate you saying that. I want to say something to you too. I mean, I know that you're young, and I can tell you that in today's world, for some reason, young people your age are so unable to communicate. They are so inarticulate. I can't even believe how they get anything done in this world anymore. These kids can't look at you in the eye. They can't complete a sentence. You were lucid, incredibly articulate. I mean, so well-spoken beyond your years. I just wanted you to know
I was just going to say, he's so well-spoken.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's very kind.
All right, brother.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to call in again. This was my first time calling
Please
in.
do.
But I really appreciate your guys' advice. So
Yeah, and if you could, if you know anybody who does what you, whatever it is you just explained to us, because I forgot already, let us know.
He's almost 62. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can just hire people off like Fiverr or like some other website.
Oh, no.
Freelancer.
No. I don't trust just anyone that on some anonymous work site. No, this is a very nuanced requirement. And
I'll give you an example. I had this really nice Indian kid who wanted to. He's also a fan of the show. He wanted to do some editing for Instagram. I gave him an opportunity, and the clips were like just cut off at the wrong time. The thoughts weren't completed. The edits were just, and there could have been a slight language barrier, but he spoke English pretty well. I think even if you are a fan or a follower or kind of have an understanding, unless you really have an intimate understanding of this and hair loss and what we're talking about, it's really difficult to pick the right clips that are going to make sense.
Right.
That's the problem. But I'm very open to it. Like I tell Joe all the time, what else do I have to do at this point in my life?
He does.
I mean, it would be interesting to blow up at 61 years old on the internet. I mean, I put out some really not great stuff, I'd say. I put a little effort into it on Instagram. And I went from like 0 to 150 some odd thousand followers in a pretty short period of time. But it's a pain in my ass. So I don't do it. I would love someone to clip the show and be able to use that as content. So anyway, thank you for bringing that back to our attention. I know Joe will never get on it though, so it's a waste of your breath.
Thank you. I have started doing timestamps, by the way.
Okay. Can we let this guy go? He wants to go.
Yes, please do.
Well, that's great. I think that's a good start. I think doing timestamps is a great start. I'll let you guys know if I find anyone who I think could help with that. But
that'd be great.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it again. Thank you guys.
Thanks, brother. Good luck. And congratulations on the success that you're having with your hair. It's great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Couldn't get him off the phone. I'm just kidding. What a great kid.
Yeah, great call. And I wish I was half as smart when I was 22. He's a smart kid.
You know, it's interesting. This is going to sound obnoxious. I was so sharp. I think about, sometimes I feel like I'm at a loss for words as I'm getting older. I was so articulate at that age. I mean, I think about how lucid my thought process was. And I guess it's because, I mean, my parents gave me a good education. I was lucky enough to, I come from a working class family. My dad worked his ass off to get us into, to pay tuition for private school in New York. I think that changed my life. I would have been walking around like with the D's, do's, and dumbs New York accent if it wasn't for that. It's funny. You talk to my family and let my father, my parents rest in peace and everything. But it was like we were from two different parts of the world. Because they had like Brooklyn accents and Bronx accents. And they just gave me an advantage in this world, I think.
As parents are supposed to.
Oh, 100%. Listen, you don't get a medal. That's what I used to tell my dad when he would get pissed off at me. You don't get a medal for doing the right thing for your kid.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. When you bitch about the private schools when I was an adult, I'm like, I didn't ask you to send me to private school. What do we know that you couldn't afford it when we were fucking, 12 years old?
As my dad would say, what do I know? I used to jump out of airplanes. Come on.
Yeah. Jesus. Our dads, man, they freed Europe and the free world.
Exactly.
These kids have no idea. Dad was in World War II.
Yeah, but both, just so the audience knows, both of our fathers were not only in World War II, they both served at one point, I think, in the same division.
No, my dad was you mix this up. I know your dad was airborne. My dad was a combat engineer and infantry.
Yeah. My dad was combat engineer. That's a similarity. They're both combat engineers. My dad was paratrooper. Yours was
infantry. Yeah. So my dad was like, not only do these guys have to clear the mines and build the bridges, they're the first on the line shooting their weapon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
2 Purple Hearts, Silver Star,
Battle of the Bulge. Yeah.
2 Purple Hearts, Bronze Star, Battle of the Bulge, D-Day plus 10. I mean, this guy was in like 200 some odd days of just straight battle. No wonder he was such a lunatic when I was growing up.
Exactly.
Exactly. I would tell him I had a problem. He's like, I remember I once told him I'm depressed. Like, what are you depressed about? When I was your age, I was killing Nazis.
Shooting people.
That's what I got. Anyway,
my dad was so crazy. He after the war, he went back in.
That's wild.
Yeah, made a career out of it. So
yeah.
Anyway, good stuff.
So the moral of the story is we're both old,
but we kept our hair somehow. I got mine back. You kept yours.
I kept the ability to create the sham. I almost feel guilty saying I kept all my hair because I didn't.
Well, I
kept
didn't say
enough.
all.
I kept enough to somehow make it look reasonably not horrific.
You kept all your hair like I got all my hair back. Not quite.
Not quite.
Not quite. Yeah.
But I would say that
enough.
Getting a transplant actually, I mean, at least you have a hairline that you feel comfortable combing back. I don't have that. So that's a plus for you.
Let's do it. Let's do the back.
No, I mean, I know these kids are like, oh my God, this guy's got a 12 head. That is what a man's hairline looks like. Okay, Rob Heldner, deal with it. All right, guys, listen, we're going to go. I'm going to think. It sounds like a drinking night. I don't know.
Wait, wrong side. There we go. Yeah.
Now
I'm back.
Here, you can see my recession. I'm not going to move it because it's sprayed shut. So you deal with it. All right, guys, until next time, be strong. God bless. And thank you so much for listening. Have a great weekend, people. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits.